Here we are at Pro Tour Honolulu 2012. Rich and BDM, we're going to take you through some of the players to watch for in this show. And the great news is I've got lots of information about all the members of Team Channel Fireball. I've got David I've got Josh Layton, Matt Nass.
Rich.
I've got, yes?
Come on, seriously. We talk about Channel Fireball. Like, yes, they win. All they do is win, right? We talk about them every event. Everybody knows Paulo Vitor Damirosa and Brian Kibler and Luis Scott Vargas and Josh Layton and David Ochoa. We're going to have so many rounds of live coverage this weekend. We're going to have 16 rounds. We're going to cover these guys. We're going to cover them in the top 8. Right? They're going to be on camera in the top 8. Let's talk about some of the players who are going to be fighting in the 16 rounds of Swiss, trying to get to the top 8 to take them on.
Okay, so how about some rookies? Let's go to the big board. Let's see what we've got. So, the big 3, I guess.
Yeah. Well, you know, at the end of last season, at World, we had a really the most exciting Rookie of the Year race in the history of the Pro Tour. We had 3 players who, by the last round of the Swiss of World, were all still jockeying for position for the Rookie of the Year title. We had Matthias Hunt, who got his year off to a great start at Pro Tour Paris last year, and then was just super consistent throughout the year, chugging along at the Grand Prix circuit.
Okay, so he's your North American attempt for Rookie of the Year.
And he ended up winning Rookie of the Year.
By 1 point?
1 point.
From?
1 point. Fabien Sealant from Germany. Fabien was a great story last year. We met Fabien. He finished in the top 32 of Pro Tour Paris, his debut. He then finished top 8 of Pro Tour Nagoya, his second Pro Tour. And he's telling us the whole time about having fun, about how exciting it is for him. He's just this like buoyant spirit.
Yes.
And you know what? On top of that, he was really good.
Talking of buoyant spirits, you don't need this. This is Sveinung Bjornerud. Yes. Of Norway. Sveinung was on the team at Worlds and faced an incredible match against Makihito Mihara of Japan. One of the great grind fests of punishing Firegrove of the Burn Willows, but with so much clever play going on. An epic match. Mihara won, which probably meant that photo wasn't taken just afterwards.
Right.
But nonetheless, one of the Norwegians, as I say, and a terrific player.
And if he had won that match, then he would have forced a tie with Matthias Hunt for the Rookie of the Year race. All 3 of these guys are going into their sophomore campaigns, although technically it's still an extension now of the same season. But you know, last year the rookie race, you know, how are they going to hold up? You know, they know that they can do it. They now have that evidence. They know that they were right there. They all racked up more than 20 pro points. They're in great shape coming into the season.
So those 3 rookies for you. Let's go to a different Magic discipline. Let's go to the point-and-click version. Let's look at Magic Online. So here we are. We've got 3 people again to highlight for you. And I guess we've got sort of 2 champions flanking. Let's start here with your Magic Online champion, Mr. Reed Duke.
This was the most desired free agent of the offseason.
Duke Fielder, if you will.
Yes. Yeah. Everyone was looking to work with Reed Duke. You know, he is just an incredibly formidable online player. He won the Magic Online Championship Series. He put up 2 Grand Prix top 8s. He's done well in Open Series events throughout the year. And, you know, he's ready. He was ready. He's like, I'm ready to prepare with, you know, someone other than myself and my computer.
Yeah, and I know that you talked to him and you'll get a chance to watch that interview during one of the gaps in the rounds.
Yeah.
He's a really impressive guy to talk to.
He is a really impressive guy, and he worked with some pretty impressive players for this event.
Who's he with?
He got to prepare for this event with Patrick Chapin, John Finkel, Michael Jacobs, Jerry Thompson, Paul Rietzel,
and the Sam Black,
and so on. And it was great because this is someone who's been playing Magic since he's 5 years old.
5?
5 years old. He's been playing Magic since he was 5 years old. His first sanctioned match happened when he was 10 years old. And, you know, he's sitting there. He's like, you know, 10 years ago, I'm playing my first, like, F&M or whatever, and I'm, like, reading about John Finkel and Patrick Chapin. and I'm looking up to these guys, and you know, I'm coming to this event, and this is the best event. He feels he is the best prepared for this event out of any event he's been to, and he's like, and I get to work with my idols.
That's pretty scary because he's for real.
He's really good.
Yeah. Now, if there is a mono red deck in standard, and
which most people agree there is,
that there is not, David Kaplan of Canada is someone who might just give it to you. He played it to perfection at Worlds. He's a renowned deck builder. He brought Canadian Threshold to the oldest of all formats, and tremendously impressive at Worlds. Held it together despite playing in the final round against Fireball.
Mox competitor and World's top 8 competitor.
Yeah, so if there's a red deck, I think he has it.
And again, someone seems poised to, you know, follow up on his Pro Tour top 8 success.
Yeah. So then we have someone who... And
speaking of top 8 success.
And talking of a photo that wasn't taken just after the match finished, here is your reigning Magic the Gathering World Champion, Junior Ienaga of Japan, the king of the Titans.
Yeah.
Really.
This is the guy who brought Wolfer and Ramp to Worlds and decimated. You know, we talk about the idea, you know, we want to talk about the Channel Fireball guys. This guy decimated the ranks of Channel Fireball.
Yeah.
You know, he just worked his way through a bracket, and you know, I'm excited to see what this year brings for him. I mean, he seemed like a very confident and capable world champion.
And of course, both Ienaga and Reed Duke will be at the Players' Championship later in the year.
Right.
The top 16, an incredible tournament that's going to be. But what about some people who've been around forever? And these are the Hall of Famers. Let's highlight 3 Hall of Famers who we're going to see in action this weekend. We begin with one of a storyline that's been bubbling, well, since the very beginning.
How is it that someone can have 3 Pro Tour top 8s, 4 Grand Prix wins,
Yep.
just a smidge shy of 500 lifetime Pro Tour points, a bling that says he is one of a elite class of Magic players?
Yep.
I feel like he's got something to prove.
He certainly feels he has something to prove. We had a lovely interview with Raf earlier in the week, and you'll be able to see that again on the coverage.
He's playing angry.
Yes, he is. He really is. And the thing is, he's fed up of being one of the best. He wants to be the best.
Well, if Austin's any indication, I mean, he was just on point throughout Grand Prix Austin, kicking off the calendar year there with a spectacular win.
He's very happy with testing, thinks he has a deck ready to go. So, top 50 puts him level with Kai Buddha lifetime pro points.
4 points shy of 500. 6 points.
6 points. Yeah.
6 points.
So top 25 to claim.
Wait. Hey.
Yeah?
You snuck a Channel Fireball in on me.
Kind of.
What's going on?
Sorry, he's a Hall of Famer. Counts.
Sure.
446 lifetime pro points for Shuhei Nakamura. Someone, in a sense, the flip side of Raf Levy, because Shuhei has any number of wins, and maybe right now, and certainly over the last year or two, perhaps hasn't quite had the fire to need to be the absolute number one.
Right.
So it'll be interesting to see this year whether, now that he's Hall of Fame, whether he reinvigorates himself to commit to excellence again, or whether he's going to be a Hall of Famer who we see from time to time.
Freshly enshrined, yeah.
Yeah, so...
I don't have to go to every event anymore.
No, so I think that's an interesting one with Shuhei. And then, obviously, super exciting.
I mean, you know, anytime John Finkel comes to the Pro Tour, viewership goes up, commentators are excited.
Opposing match wins go down.
Yes. And he has performed very well on the Pro Tour since, in the sporadic appearances he's made. I mean, he had a top 16 last year.
Yeah. And of course, he won Kuala Lumpur in 2008.
And he won Kuala Lumpur, yes. I forgot that. I wasn't there.
No, I know. I was very poor of you. Very poor. So obviously a lot of people, if anyone is scared of playing anyone on reputation alone, there are 200 first-timers here, roughly, this weekend. Round 1, paired against John Finkel. Wow.
And what's really exciting is about this, the new enhanced video coverage that we're doing is that, let's say an event like Philadelphia where John made the top 16, but didn't get to the top 8. We don't get to see him on camera. I mean, it's really something to watch John Finkel play Magic, right? I mean, his brain does not work like our brains. And getting to see him on camera playing during the Swiss rounds is really going to be something spectacular.
Okay. So now we're going to spread things out as far as they can humanly go. It's like, how far apart could you get in the world of Magic? Well, let's see what we've got next. We've got a pair of guys who on the screen are quite close, but they are, what's half of, it's like 13,000 miles apart, something like that. We've got Richard Bland of England, Jeremy Neiman of Australia.
Richard Bland, someone who ended last season in spectacular fashion.
Second twice.
Second in Grand Prix San Diego, a week later, second at the World Championships in San Francisco.
Mm-hmm. He links up with the Norwegian crowd.
Right, I was just going to say.
Yeah.
I was very, very impressed with that little core group of the British national team and the Norwegian national team that came together at Worlds. They seemed like really bright, passionate, young players that could be the epicenter of a new, like, kind of European Magic powerhouse.
Certainly feels like Scandinavia's got a lot going on.
They got to get something going on for it to be a powerhouse. But like that potential, I definitely see that potential there.
Yeah, and he's level 7. Richard's level 7, and it's for real. He's worked hard. He's a good guy. Good at Magic. What can I say? Jeremy Neiman.
This is one of my, I'm kind of sad that the secret's out on Jeremy. I mean, I'm glad for Jeremy that people are paying attention to him, but like for the fantasy Pro Tour, like when you're drafting Magic players with your friends, this was a sleeper pick for a little while. He was like Paulo Vitor Damarosa was early in his career. I mean, it's funny, we did an interview with him, which we'll be showing throughout the live coverage. And he talks about having his 2 top 16s last year, his top 24 last year, and his top 50 last year.
Oh, how embarrassing.
And I was like, oh man, you had a hell of a year. And he's like, it was all right. He really wants a top 8.
Yeah.
He is. He's not someone who goes through this year. 9 Pro Tours, over 100 points. First Australian player to get to 100 lifetime pro points.
And I tell you what else is on his docket for this year. The 2009 Australian Grand Prix winner.
Yeah.
The 2010, 2011. Yeah. The last 2. So this year, coming up, he's going to be going to, I think is it Brisbane?
March. It's in March.
So,
Melbourne.
It's Melbourne this time,
yeah.
Is it? Okay. So he has the chance to be 3 successive years win your home Grand Prix. He's a great player.
He's a great player, and not someone that a certain Channel Fireballer wants to see in the win and in round of an event or the finals of a Grand Prix.
Sure, that's fair. So we've given you some rookies. We've given you some Magic Online Championship Series players. We've given you some Hall of Famers.
Some upstarts who want to, if these guys want to like take on the Empire. You know, I mean, like, a lot of these guys are used to shooting Womp Rats back home at their local FNM.
But these guys,
on our next slide.
Let's see.
This is the Death Star.
The Death Stars.
Certainly. This is who everybody's thinking about when they come to this Pro Tour. There are a lot of people here who are playing their first Pro Tour. You mentioned it. Any one of these guys, even if they're not maybe the most celebrated player on the team, you know that they're going to have the best deck. They're going to be the most prepared. They're going to put the most people into the top 8. These guys are terrifying.
So there's 14 of them. So who are the other 2 slots in the top 16?
I mean, this is who everyone's gunning for.
Yeah.
So, is it going to be another dominating Channel Fireball performance this weekend? Or are we going to see, the Norwegian, British contingent rise up? Are we going to see, the old school Patrick Chapin, John Finkel, kind of like other beach house rise up? I mean, we're starting to see more people forming these teams, and maybe, it was always exciting when CMU had YMG to play the foil to them.
He's saying lots of letters from a go. CMU. Well, we'll see you too all through the weekend, live. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, Friday. 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, Saturday. 17, 18, 19, Sunday. Throat Sweets, Monday. For Brian David-Marshall, I'm your host, Rich Hagon, saying bye.